Good afternoon, everyone. We appreciate your time today. My name is Howard Goldberg. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of CESMII. Joining me today is Dale Turner, the VP of Smike Networks. Dale will join me in the Q&A portion of the talk. So we're excited to talk to you today about the value that CESMII is bringing its membership to our network of network operational structure. But before I get into that, just a little housekeeping first. So this session is being recorded today. A couple of days after this call, we'll distribute the copy of the slide deck that we're showing you, along with a link to the recording. So you don't have to worry about taking notes. We'll distribute this to you after the call. And since CESMII is a consortium, we have the standard antitrust statement. So I'll give you guys a few seconds just to read through that. And then just one last housekeeping item. We do encourage questions, and at the bottom of the screen, there's a Q&A panel, so just type in your questions for that. We have a team that's going to be posting the questions, and we'll address it at the end of the call. And whatever we can't address, we'll send out through email. So one way or the other, questions will be addressed. So the agenda today that we're excited to present is the power of our network, the current state and offerings of what we call our Smart Manufacturing Innovation Centers, or SMICs, or SMICs for short. Our plans for Affinity Groups. So we've had Affinity Groups since we started, but we're taking it up a notch to the next level and rolling out version 2 of Affinity Groups. And we're excited to share that with you. And our plans for building out our network and networks. We have a great network now. We want to scale and grow that even more nationally. So as you saw in our CEO's keynote presentation a week ago, John Dyke, CESMII, the main mission of CESMII is to democratize smart manufacturing. And the purpose of smart manufacturing is to improve energy productivity at the national level for US manufacturing. And we achieve that through 3 initiatives: technology, through our platform and projects; knowledge, through our workforce development and training; and innovation, through business practices and the IP that comes from projects. So the way that we get this out to the membership is leveraging our network or networks to scale all portions of these initiatives out across the nation and address people at a local level. So this is CESMII's current network of networks. So we're based here on the West Coast in UCLA. And on the West Coast, we have more of a distributed model. So we have several wonderful satellites here. So with us in LA in Hawthorne is El Camino Community College, a great resource for workforce development and training that we've leveraged. In the Bay Area, a great partner, Atology, a private company up in the Silicon Valley area that does a lot of digital twinning and visual aspects of smart manufacturing. And then Oregon State University that helps provide outreach and R&D support for the Pacific Northwest. So on the West Coast, we have a more distributed model of a satellite hub and spoke network around UCLA. In the great state of Texas here, we have Texas A&M and College Station. And in Southeast, we have North Carolina State University in Raleigh, North Carolina. And covering the East Coast is RPI, Rensselaer Polytechnical Institute, up in Troy, New York. So CESMII has a national mission, as I mentioned, but our SMICs, or Smart Manufacturing Innovation Centers, these networks and networks, help extend CESMII's reach nationally, but provide our services down at a local level to our memberships, and also, more importantly, or equally as important, provide the voice of membership back to CESMII so we make sure our offerings are in alignment to what the membership wants. So it's a two-way communication street. So just to highlight a few things at a macro level, the power of our network is, as we said today, the key assets and capabilities. To date, we've awarded over $22 million in research projects. So those are ongoing research projects in smart manufacturing to make factories smarter and more energy productive. And as a member of the Institute, as you know, you have free access to any Institute IP that comes from these projects for your internal use. So for use for R&D, testing, and evaluation, you get free access to that as a CESMII member. If you want to have that for production purposes, then we have some commercial licensing arrangements. But this is the value that CESMII brings to the table, and we achieve this value through our network and networks. Also, as we speak, we have over $4 million right now in active project calls for new research projects, the Wave 3 and Wave 4 RFPs that you saw came out last week. But we also have Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform. This is a software platform offering. It's first of its kind, vendor-agnostic OT-IT integration, and currently represents $5 million a year of partner contributions. So only with a consortium can you put together a platform like this through our partner co-investments. Equally as important as the technology side is the training side. So last year we had some great training offerings and we're scaling it up this year, but we trained over 160 individuals through our various events, most notably the Smart Manufacturing demo days. As you know, smart manufacturing cuts across all industries, so we have well over 15 industries represented here at CESMII through our network of networks. And through our membership and partners, we have many of the Fortune 500 companies, leading small to mid-sized manufacturers, and top universities. And some key assets that are relevant are access to several supercomputing networks that couple well with our Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform offering. More recently, our network and networks came together on their own to help respond to COVID. So from large companies down to small companies, you can see here, we have people actively involved producing the N95 masks required for the healthcare workers, hand sanitizers, people retooling their factories, manufacturing hand sanitizers, supercomputing capabilities like RPI to help do drug research to battle COVID, all the way down to best practices for how to reopen as a manufacturer and medical guides. So this shows you how you leverage the partner, the network of networks, and how this can come together to solve real immediate problems and manufacturing problems. So we've gone through an evolution of our networks and networks. When those of you who have been around for a while remember that our SMICs were originally called Regional Manufacturing Centers, or RMCs, so that's kind of a term of the past, but they were selected initially to provide geographic coverage, primarily not so much focused around industry focus. They were centers of excellence and also provided membership services. And members were assigned to RMCs based on the original location. So if you're on the East Coast, you were assigned in the past to RPI. If you're in the South, you were assigned to Texas A&M as examples. So that's the past. So a lot of great stuff came out of this. So in continuous improvement, we've evolved the RMCs to Smart Manufacturing Innovation Centers, at SMICs. So now the focus is not so much on geography, but industry vertical. So steel, automotive, chemical processing as examples, or a technology horizontal that cuts across many industries like AI, 5G, and so on. Still want to leverage the center of excellence aspect of each SMIC and how they fit in either their industry vertical or technology horizontal, and they'll provide services that align to those industry verticals or technology horizontals. Each SMIC will have an instance of a Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform, so they can start that dialogue with membership on where you are at in your smart manufacturing journey and what smart manufacturing can do for you. It sets that first discussion and how the members can get more involved with the Institute of projects and training work as well. So the platform is just not software technology. It's literally a platform to start the dialogue and discussion for how we can engage you in your smart manufacturing journey that meets your several needs. So now members are free to choose which SMIC or SMICs they want to engage with. You can pick as many as you want. That can change over time. It's a very, very casual process. You just pick up the phone or email the SMIC leader. So no longer are you just assigned to one based on your region. You can engage with as many as you want, and it can change over time. And you can change on a daily basis. It's very casual engagement. But the important thing is we want to bring value to you aligned to an industry vertical or technology horizontal. So to help align to this new SMIC national model, we transitioned our monthly membership calls. They used to be monthly regional calls, and in April we transitioned to monthly national membership calls, all the members on the phone together, which allows for some great collaboration. And so that's an alignment of this new SMIC national model. So let me give you the highlights of some offerings of our current SMIC centers, our current network, and then later on we'll talk about our plans on how we want to grow this as well. And so what a SMIC is a lighthouse or beacon for CESMII's engagement with industry. So it allows us, as a portal to allow us to roll out services to industry aligned to our vertical or horizontal. It allows CESMII to have a national reach but still try to meet everyone's needs at a local or individual level. So to be a SMIC, you have to have deep relationships with industry, a very important vertical industry focus or technology horizontal, strategic focus on smart manufacturing, both from a research and practical application, access to manufacturing assets, real assets that are meaningful projects or test beds, partner with system integrators to help members engage with a smart manufacturing innovation platform and then integrate that platform into their operation, and help us lead the affinity groups, which I'll describe in more detail later. So the value of being the SMIC is that CESMII provides some operating budget. So we provide budget to be a lighthouse. We take care of all the back-end aspects of the administration. We provide platform as an asset for the SMIC to use. And it allows the SMIC members to build better relationship with local members and to promote their presence on the national stage within the smart manufacturing community. So it's a win-win relationship. So the SMICs help us engage at multiple levels with the membership. So they're interlinked throughout the US. They are this network of networks. On a daily basis, they're engaged with members and partners. So again, they allow us to have this meet our national mandate, but still allow us to touch members at a local level. And since CESMII industrial companies, as well as R&D, national labs, and universities, and things change on a regional basis, the SMICs helped us to adapt our message and needs to those members. And more importantly, their feet on the ground to allow us to roll out the membership services to the members, as well as allow us to hear the voice of membership back to CESMII, so we make sure we're always in alignment and relevant to what the membership needs. So with this new SMIC structure, we have a slightly new organizational structure to help support this. So I'm the Chief Operating Officer at the top. On the right here is Dale Turner. So he's our VP of our National SMIC Network. Dale previously was running our West Coast SMIC. So he's been promoted up and oversees our National SMIC Network. So Dale's right-hand person is Shekhar here. Shekhar is new to us. He comes from CMTC and has a lot of background in smart manufacturing from Bell Labs. So very well seasoned as an operations person. Has a lot of experience with managing operations and consortiums. So he provides the operation project management support for the SMIC network. And then we have the SMIC network. And just to be clear, the SMIC directors and leaders are not direct employees of CESMII. They are partners of CESMII. So they are sub-recipients. So it's an indirect relationship, but they're operationally part of CESMII. So in North Carolina State, we have Professor Wanshin Lee. From RPI, we have Craig Dory. In Texas A&M, we have Marcus Lentz. And on our West Coast satellites, we have Rob from Metallurgy, Professor Carl Hapola from OSU, Oregon State University, and Dean Jose Anaya from El Camino Community College. And last but not least, we've had a recent addition to the CESMII staff, Mike Kipana, our VP of Business Development. So part of this new SMIC model is we've moved business development from the SMICs back to headquarters to have more of a coherent membership focus, more cost-effective focus, and more efficiency. Mike has a deep history in smart manufacturing, both from the software side, the MES side of things, as well as being an operator of several large manufacturing operations. So Mike he's worn the shoes of our customers and worn the hat of providing smart manufacturing solutions to that customer base. So we're excited to have this team here. And also, last but not least, we have our wonderful membership team that hasn't changed, with David Corshow, Tara Stewart, who support us, and you probably have engaged with them on your membership applications and agreements and so on. So this is the operational team supporting membership, and view the SMICs as supporting membership as well. So I just want to kind of highlight our current SMICs. So North Carolina State, the Western SMIC Network, RPI, and Texas A&M. So North Carolina State has 4 great departments we're working with. They have Polymeric Materials and Nonwovens Institute. So this multi-tiered large asset here, so it's a multi-level asset. Right now, as we speak, is 24/7 printing with polymeric materials, the N95 mask to help fight COVID. So they do non-woven material printing for various applications. Right now, they've retooled to help the COVID battle. You can see it's a rather large manufacturing asset that we're integrated with. They also have a wonderful biopharmaceutical department. So this is a full clean room, FDA-like clean room with bioreactors. It's almost like a miniature pharma company. So companies like Roche and others come here to do pilot production or pilot testing of their drugs to test them before they want to go to full production in their own facilities. So this is a full pilot production ready biopharmaceutical manufacturing facility. And then we have a pulp and paper department here. So we have a pilot production pulp and paper press, full printing press here. And this is soon coming online, the advanced manufacturing facility. It's automation and robotics and so on. So North Carolina State has 4 great manufacturing assets here. And as you probably saw in our prior press release and some videos we've done, we've connected these 4 assets to our smart manufacturing innovation platforms. So our platform software offering is shown up here. And we have several great partners whose applications sit on top of our platform. But we've been integrating our platform with the 4 assets from North Carolina State. Most immediately, we've done the biomanufacturing is fully integrated. And we're in the process of integrating the nonwovens and the pulp and paper. We have some slight delays here because of the COVID aspect of getting to these facilities. But once these are all connected, any member anywhere can log into our platform, see the digital twins of these assets, interact with them virtually, as well as you're more than welcome to stop by North Carolina State and see them in person and see how the network integrates to the sensors on these assets for the process control of the smart manufacturing aspect of this. So like I said before, the platform is a tool to help start the discussion, but it's not the be all and end all. So the platform creates, by having these assets connected to the platform and allows smart manufacturing to occur, it becomes a great training ground for workforce development. So this shows a training that will occur in the biomanufacturing labs, as well as the pulp and paper and non-woven institutes once these assets are fully integrated to the platform, and showing smart manufacturing so you can look at the real asset versus the digital twin and the process control that occurs. And we can train people, university students, up to industrial workers, all the way up to industrial executives. So we're looking at very segmented training here, and the platform helps catalyze that training. So for further details on North Carolina State, the press release that we did when they joined us as a SMIC, some great videos here on the manufacturing innovation platform with our VP of Technology, Jonathan Wise, which highlights the connection to the assets of North Carolina State. There are some links here, so when I distribute the presentation, you can engage those links. So on the West Coast, we have a hub and spoke network here. So the hub being UCLA, and the spokes being Atology, Oregon State University, and El Camino College. So we have 3 satellites around UCLA to effectively be the West Coast Smart Manufacturing Innovation Center. So with Atology here, they're located up in Silicon Valley, a great private company. Their key technology and machine vision for digital twinning and sensor-based asset tracking. They gave a wonderful talk, I believe it was last week or the week before, on our weekly webinar. And they allow real-time visual analytics to be ported into our network and scalable cloud solutions. They're actively involved with several roadmap projects at CESMII. So the interaction with our membership and our SMIC partners can occur at multiple levels there, which is all part of the consortium and collaboration and the power of this network of networks. So again, here's a hot link to the press release on Atology joining us. Oregon State, Pacific Northwest, gives us great access to the aerospace community up there. They're very much aligned to that as well as other manufacturing. And there's some great research centers there. The Advanced Technology Manufacturing Institute, ATAMI. The DOE has an industrial assessment center that helps companies do their energy productivity analysis, which aligns very well to our mandate, our initiative, as well as several software institutes there. El Camino College in Torrance, California, just outside of LA here. Great asset for workforce development and training, both for workforce development training infrastructure for both in-person and online training, as well as content development. We've already utilized them already for our demo days, but they help us train both at business level for executives, all the way down to factory floor worker levels, and training the next generation manufacturers. Again, to highlight the power of the network of network, by us being connected to El Camino College, they are part of the 115 colleges that are part of the California network of community college. So through El Camino, we can leverage their network of networks, which brings in 72 centers and over $13 billion of facilities. So again, you can see how this leverage works in many different levels. And again, El Camino is part of our roadmap research projects as well. So engage with them at multiple levels. On the East Coast, Rensselaer Polytechnical Institute, it's one of the top ranked engineering schools in the US. Well-known research institute across many technology vectors here. They're most well-known for their supercomputing, AI, machine learning capabilities, process modeling, simulation, predictive analytics, automation, robotics. Their current vertical focus for CESMII is discrete manufacturing and chemical processing. And we're engaged with RPI at many levels, and they're involved with 3 different roadmap projects, both as a leader and as a great team member. And they have several great research centers at RPI. So the Manufacturing Innovation Center, CCI, LISA, as well as IDEA. So a lot of great research centers within RPI. And then externally, RPI is very well connected. So they're well connected to the regional MEP network in upstate New York and the tri-state area, as well as New York Workforce Development and the SUNY Community College System for rolling out and leveraging for our workforce development purposes. So our phase 1 of engagement, our current focus right now with RPI, and there'll be multiple phases is the intent, but the current focus right now is focusing on what they call the MIL, which is an acronym for the Manufacturing Innovation Learning Lab. It's a great facility for help training the next generation of students and manufacturing engineers. Over 10,000 square feet of test factory platform in high bay. So it's a real hands-on environment for students to have access to manufacturing equipment. They have a dedicated digital manufacturing center, the Hearst Center, they'll be opening very soon. And they offer degree programs both at the graduate level and undergraduate level. So just to dive a little bit deeper on the MIL here, on the left, you can see great laundry list here of various manufacturing equipment, all the way from milling machines to injection molders, robotics, and welders. So the whole spectrum here that students can access and use to work through different products and teams. So it's kind of a mini factory environment. Great industrial sponsors here to allow that industrial student engagement. And the photos here show the nature. It's a very high bay mini factory environment. So we're focused with RPI now to integrate the smart manufacturing innovation platform, the software platform, to their assets here, the manufacturing assets, to help make digital twins of the assets, and to help do the process control to train the students on, when you experience the real process, what does the digital process look like, and how do I close the loop, and how does smart manufacturing work? So they can be trained on how the next generation digital factory will work in the future. So at Texas A&M, we're engaged with the College Station campus and the TEAS Institute, which is the Texas Engineering Experimental Station, or TEES. So as you know, Texas A&M itself represents a network of networks. They're one of 11 colleges throughout the state of Texas. So they bring in, through their network of network, 8 agencies and over $4 billion of budget. TEAS, as an institute across Texas, has a tremendous research budget of $168 million, a lot of great research projects and industrial sponsors there. So again, through our SMICs, which are part of our network and network, they bring in other clusters of networks and network of networks. So TEAS is involved with our roadmap project with Lindy, and their current industry verticals are oil and gas processing, refinement, chemical processing, but more specifically the process modeling, simulation, optimization, the digital twinning aspects of these processes, and additive manufacturing. So I hope you can see that the Smike assets that we have today are wonderful assets, and they help us engage membership at multiple levels here, so we can engage members across an industry vertical, horizontal, to meet their needs from a technology level, a training level, a platform level. So each of the current Smart Manufacturing Innovation Centers now have an instance of the platform. And we actually fall of last year, we held 4 separate demonstration days to demonstrate the platform at these open houses for these SMICs. So very hands-on experience. They're well attended by members. And as part of that, we did some workforce development and training of our pilot practitioner certification training program as well. So as you can see, we use these SMICs to roll out technology aspects, training aspects, engage membership, outreach, networking, and get membership feedback. And since these SMICs are aligned to industry verticals or technology horizontals, they're deep domain experts that members can tap into for their deep domain expertise and consulting services. And lastly, we think one of the unique aspects of CESMII is Affinity Groups. So this is our self-formed groups that members volunteer to join. They're semi-casual groups you can join that are aligned to an industry vertical or technology horizontal, and allows members to do a deeper dive and to leverage CESMII resources to solve problems within those areas. So I'll talk about that next. So I'm going to segue right now into our affinity groups. And affinity groups have been around since CESMII has formed, and they've been very effective. And as part of continuous improvement, we're now rolling out what we call version 2 of affinity groups. So most of you probably know what affinity groups are. For those you don't, so as I mentioned, affinity groups are self-formed groups that are aligned to an industry vertical or technology horizontal, national in scope, purely volunteer. A member can elect to join one or as many groups as they want to, and you can move from group to group. But the important thing is a group has to have a mission statement that's focused on solving a real smart manufacturing problem in a specific industry sector or a technology horizontal that cuts across many sectors. So the members bring in their capabilities, their know-how, their best practices, experiences. They engage CESMII resources and collaboration and exchange of ideas that could help solve that sector problem. We provide a little structure and an official venue and some administrative support to keep the groups focused and make sure there's ROI going both ways. And like I said, members can join as many groups as they want. They tend to meet on a monthly basis. And if you have a conflict with the schedule, you can opt in or opt out of as many meetings as you want. They're there for you to use. So currently we have 3 active affinity groups: aerospace, food safety and traceability, and small to medium manufacturers, which is a newer group, but this is important because, as you know, 95% plus of the manufacturers in the US are small to mid-sized manufacturers. So the advantage of the affinity group is they provide a clear view to how the CESMII portfolio, so when I say the CESMII portfolio, I mean our smart manufacturing integration platform, our technology, our projects, workforce development, training, business practices, so the complete portfolio, how it can be structured and make sure it's addressing on an industry by industry basis its needs and requirements. And if there's a shortcoming in one of the industries, these affinity groups help feedback to CESMII, hey, we need more of this over here. So it allows us to gauge things on an industry by industry level. And it allows us to better align our efforts for the Institute roadmap across our entire portfolio to track how we're doing across all the manufacturing industries. And it's an engagement process as well. So it's a two-way communication street to allow member participation and to help solve real manufacturing problems in an industry sector. So the results of affinity groups have been inputs to recent project calls. So some of the theme areas you've seen in recent project calls were the feedback of affinity groups in the past saying, hey, we want to see a project call that addresses small to mid-sized manufacturers or this technology aspect. So it's a great feedback loop that we have leveraged many times at CESMII. So the 2.0 improvements of affinity groups are, since members are contributing their time as purely volunteer and CESMII contributing resources, we want to make sure it's ROI. We want to respect your time, that you as a member are getting value out of it. We're not wasting anyone's time. And that CESMII as an institute is getting value out of it. It's kind of a 1 + 1 = 3. The members come away with some value trying to solve an industry problem. And the affinity groups help improve CESMII portfolio of our value proposition. So the change here is we try to add just a little more structure here. We don't want to get too heavily structured, but a little more structure here to make sure that we're optimizing ROI both ways. So now the new affinity group formation, if people have ideas for new affinity groups, they'll be vetted by the business standing committee. So it's a structured process now for vetting new affinity groups. Each affinity group will have a purpose statement that that specifies the sector problem they're trying to address, and kind of the current state and the future state of that problem, and that drives their daily agendas and activities. We want to define some success metrics so we can gauge progress. And we also have a structured leadership team. Both we want to have industry representation in the Affinity Groups, and we have CESMII support as well. We're going to establish a consistent cadence on monthly meetings of the Affinity Groups as decided by the leadership team of the Affinity Groups, and capturing of the meeting agendas, meeting minutes, and actions. And we want to strive towards having quarterly reviews of the business standing committee so we can gauge this mutual ROI. So each Affinity Group will have a purpose statement. So the purpose statement is trying to quantify, articulate the sector problem they're trying to solve, and more specifically, there's some guiding questions here, as like I'm showing here, that, you know, what exactly is the biggest problem in the industry right now in smart manufacturing? What is the current state? What's the future state? Which operations are most critical to monitor from a smart manufacturing aspect? What are the barriers of adopting smart manufacturing? How does your sector use data, which is a powerful part of what we do as an institute? And what are your workforce objectives as well? So these are guiding questions to help the Affinity Groups frame their purpose or their mission statement. So in terms of the roles and responsibilities, we want each Affinity Group to have a leader and a co-leader. So the leader and the co-leader are the co-chair people of the Affinity Group. They decide and structure and manage the meetings. We prefer, where possible, to have industry members as leader and co-leader, but that's not a hard and written rule, but where possible, we want to have industry representation, make sure that we're solving real manufacturing industry problems. We prefer, where possible, to have the leader and co-leader, one be a manufacturing expert in that industry sector, and one being a subject matter expert in the industry sector where possible. And then the other members of the group will get free to join the Affinity Group. I mean, their expertise, best practices, know-how, their time, they can contribute their time and their offerings. CESMII will provide a CESMII facilitator. So to start off, it'll be Dale Turner here, our VP of SMICs, and as well as Shaker will attend the group to kind of help bring in the voice of CESMII and align the groups to the CESMII roadmap as well. And then CESMII will also bring in some admin support to help facilitate the meeting scheduling, the logistics. So we want to keep the leaders and the co-leaders and the membership team of the Affinity Groups focus on solving the industry sector problem and take away the administrative burden, because out of respect for their time, we know people are volunteering for this. So we now have a dedicated admin support for all the Affinity Groups. So these are some proposed measures of success to help gauge progress of the Affinity Groups. So this is not meant to be like a sales quota where if you don't make your number, you're done as an Affinity Group. It's nothing like that. It's more, since we are about smart manufacturing metrics, process control, measurement, we want to make sure that we're measuring some level positive trends of improvement for the Affinity Group. Are they bringing value to the membership? And are they bringing value to CESMII? And if not, how can we fix that? So some suggested metrics are number of active members involved. We want to start having surveys, annual surveys of the Affinity Groups to get feedback from the Affinity Group members, what they like, what they didn't like, areas of improvement. And how the Affinity Groups are adding to CESMII portfolio, how they, in terms of, just as example, recommendations for future roadmap or application project calls, recommendations for EWD, workforce development projects, recommendations for the roadmap, recommendations for the CESMII platform or the profile of the associated marketplace, and contributions to white papers, content pieces, or presentations. So we always, in general, we encourage our membership to be involved in helping create content for CESMII, be invited speakers, and even more so if you're part of an Affinity Group. And last but not least, how is the Affinity Group solving their purpose statement or their impact on the sector problem they're trying to address? Are they closing the gap between the current state and the future state in their problem statement and bringing smart manufacturing to bear in the marketplace? So the next steps for Affinity Group 2.0 is we're going to roll this out with the current 3 Affinity Groups that we have now: aerospace, food safety and traceability, and the small to medium manufacturers. Of course, we want to grow beyond these 3, but we want to make sure the growth is meaningful for the membership. So we just don't want to throw a lot of CESMII proposed Affinity Groups out there that aren't aligned to membership goals. So we want to have inputs from you guys. So please send us your inputs, proposals for Affinity Group ideas, and we'll vet that with the Business Standing Committee. So feel free to send your ideas to Dale Turner or myself. and we'll get that in front of the Business Standing Committee, and the goal is to get new affinity groups out there. And we're looking for volunteers to participate in the Business Standing Committee. Part of the role of the Business Standing Committee is to help vet the affinity groups and do the quarterly reviews as discussed. But also the Business Standing Committee has a mandate beyond that, because business practices is one of the 4 pillars of CESMII. So how are we adopting the best practices of smart manufacturing business practices as we bring in new technologies and workforce development to smart manufacturing? There's also a business aspect of that. What's the ROI? What's the business aspect? How do executives think differently? And that's part of the Business Standing Committee as well. So it's a very exciting committee to be part of. So again, if you'd like to volunteer, please send us your name. So I'm talk about next about how we're going to add to our great network now of more smart manufacturing innovation centers. So as I mentioned early in the talk, we have four great smart manufacturing innovation centers. So we have the West Coast Satellite as one, Texas A&M, North Carolina State, RPI. So right now with those, we're addressing these industry verticals. But there's other industry verticals we'd like to address, and we need other partners, other smart manufacturing innovation centers to join and become part of the network. So we're looking for people that are already aligned to these verticals or horizontals. So they're already have a world-class network of manufacturing assets that we can connect to our innovation platform. They already have some well-established industry or academia partners. A smart manufacturing innovation center or SMIC can be university, it could be a research lab, it could be a company. Anyone could be a smart manufacturing innovation center. Any organization could be, as long as you meet these requirements. So the yellow dots represent directionally, they're not meant to be specific areas, but directionally how we intend to grow the smart manufacturing innovation centers, not so much to cover geography per se. I mean, we will cover geography as a byproduct, of course, and that's important. But the first focus is how can we address these important industry verticals that CESMII needs to address. And the reason why we selected these verticals are these are the high energy consumption manufacturing verticals throughout the nation. So with the DOE, we're developing a project call, so it's not out there yet. In the summer timeframe, we're hoping to roll out another project call. So right now, this is the intent of it, but it's still in the development phase of the DOE. So if you notice our innovation project call that we recently had, the Wave 4, they have predefined statement of works and funding. So the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Center call will have similar. We'll have predefined statement of work. So as a Smart Manufacturing Innovation Center, you can check any one of these 6 boxes. You want to showcase the Smart Manufacturing Innovation Platform. You want to help host outreach events. You have real manufacturing assets we can connect the platform to do demonstrators and test beds. You may be a workforce development partner here, like El Camino College. You have great workforce development infrastructure, great workforce development content, and you may have deep subject matter expertise you want to leverage from helping members do benchmarking, assessments, and consulting. So as part of this call, you would select one or all 6 of these statements of work, and the funding range will be between 50 million total. So that when I say 50 million total cost, that's 50K total. When I say 50K total, I mean between 25K federal, 25% K cost share, your in-kind contribution. So every dollar CESMII provides you through a project, you have to bring in $1 of in-kind contribution. So there's a 1-to-1 matching there. So the minimum funding level is 50K total investment, all the way up to $200,000 of total investment. But like you saw with the recent Wave 4 innovation projects, we're looking for a more agile approach to this RFP process. So we are working through the details of DOE, but expect it to look a lot like the Wave 4 innovation projects. So where the members would provide their proposals based on those predefined SOWs and their budgets within this funding range I mentioned a minute ago. CESMII will go through review and see which ones align to our needs as a SMIC and make a recommendation for DOE. DOE would review that and concur. And if they concur, we then go on to initiating subrecipient agreements between CESMII UCLA and the selected SMICs. So we're targeting between your proposal submission and our contracting phase something that looks like 8 to 10 weeks. So we're from typical RFP process that is an agile accelerated process. And currently that's how we've rolled out the Wave 4 innovation projects recently. So the SMIC RFP that's soon to come will look a lot like that as well. So what's in it for being a SMIC? Why do you want to be a SMIC? So it allows you a deeper engagement with the industry, gives you a bigger platform, a national platform with a lot of public-private partnership. CESMII represents 140 million in both public-private investment, co-investment on both sides here. So it's a national stage to promote your institute, your organization. So, and also we provide an operating budget. So I mentioned it's between 50K to 200K total cost, where half of that's funds we provide, the other half is the investment that you make. So along with the funding, we also provide operating kits or know-how to run a SMIC. So we have this operating kit that covers how to manage your operations and business processes, membership drive, EWD training, all the way down to how to do a smart manufacturing innovation platform demonstration. It's kind of the how-to kit of being the CESMII SMIC. So we provide funding, we provide know-how, we provide the platform as our contribution, our investment contribution. You provide facilities, assets, personnel. Also, what's in it for you if you choose to be a SMIC is exposure to a broader manufacturing ecosystem. The SMICs would have a focus on an industry vertical, technology horizontal, and that the know-how there could leverage across other verticals or horizontals. So it gives you that greater ability to hop across those verticals, horizontals. Opportunities to participate in roadmap application projects, publications, promotions, workforce development, consulting opportunities, and ability to get greater visibility both at a national and global level. So I know I talked a lot now, so we'll open the floor now for Q&A sessions, and Dale will join me here. Mike, I think you can help. You can look monitoring the questions there.
Oh, I'm sorry, Howard. Certainly. There's a question here about how do you join an affinity group?
So Dale, I'll let you answer that. I'm just talking for a while here.
Yeah. The process is, number one, under your membership, current membership of CESMII, your level allows you to participate. So the best way to do that is to reach out to myself or Howard, but preferred to me, and then we'll work with you on what affinity group you're looking at or even want to participate, as Howard explained, and you know, working and identifying other affinity groups that could benefit your specific industry challenge.
Excellent, thank you. I would also encourage everybody to keep your questions coming. We can take more. One is actually a correction here, pointing out that Oregon State University is located in Corvallis, Oregon, not in Portland. So we acknowledge that and thank you for the correction. Then there are two questions here that are pretty related, so I'll ask them both at the same time. Howard, you can decide whether to answer them with one answer or separate them. The questions are, number one, what is required for a SMIC to successfully launch? And then the second is, are there recommended hardware and software needed for successful use of this smart manufacturing innovation platform at the SMIC?
Well, great question there. So ideally, the SMIC would have to already have deep expertise in the industry vertical and engagement with manufacturers in that vertical. So they have to have some pre-existing relationships they bring to the table. So it's not a greenfield startup in that regard. And they have to have some meaningful manufacturing assets, as you saw, like with North Carolina State or RPI, assets that reflect what manufacturers need in the industry, so we can help demonstrate smart manufacturing. So that'll be kind of the two basic core requirements. In terms of our platform, it runs in the cloud, so it's a pretty light touch. It's not like an enterprise system level upgrade or something like that. So it runs in the cloud. If you have just some pretty decent engineering workstations or the like, that's sufficient to run our platform, and we provide all the training. But since it runs in the cloud, it's a pretty light touch from an IT perspective.
Excellent. Next question is about selection criteria for SMIC proposals. It says, what are your selection criteria for SMIC proposals for a given technology vertical?
Well, one is seeing if the vertical is aligned to the verticals of our immediate interest. So that's the one I showed on the map, those high energy usage industries like automotive, steel, and so on. And our vertical focus will change over time. We imagine a rolling call of SMICs over time, and our vertical change will change over time, of course. And within a vertical, there'll be detail in the call that will come out over the summertime, but again, making sure you have those pre-existing relationships with manufacturers in that industry vertical, the assets, the resource team, the capabilities. So you're kind of already up and running, and you're joining CESMII kind of already up and running, and we can work together to go to the next level.
Okay. And then we have a question here from someone, and then a quick follow-up that they submitted right afterward. It says, what are the horizontal areas on the SMICs? Is there a link between AI/machine learning and 5G, or can it be something like AI/machine learning focused on small to medium sized manufacturer operations or challenges as their problem? And then the follow-up question is, how do you define horizontal for a SMIC?
Sure. Yeah, so the AI 5G aspect of the horizontal is meant to be more directional examples. So we're looking for technologies that do cut across all the verticals, and those were just some representative examples. So any of those combinations the person mentioned would be happy to look at, and especially of extra interest would be things that would apply to small to mid-sized manufacturer, because obviously the technology adoption of new technologies, there's a gap there that we have to help address. So those would be of even greater interest to CESMII as well. So the technology verticals aren't hard-coded. It doesn't have to be 5G AI. They're meant to be more representative, but they are kind of front and center these days. But we're looking for things that cut across all industries like 5G AI, process modeling, so on.
Okay, and I would encourage everybody to, if you have any questions, get them in the Q&A panel now, because this is the last question that we have formally in the panel right now. So the last question that we have listed right now says, how should private equity investors most effectively collaborate with CESMII and SMICs?
Great question there, because smart manufacturing is obviously a strategic area. A lot of the top consulting companies, McKinsey, Deloitte, are focused on that as next generation digital factory. So they should engage with either myself or John Dyke, our CEO. We're currently funded by DOE, and we're excited about that. But as with all DOE institutes, by year 5, we're in year 3 of year 5, we have to become self-sustaining, and we have a plan to get there. But also part of that plan, we'd be open to looking at outside investment as well. So if you're interested, that's a conversation I have with our headquarters team, either myself or John Dyke.
Outstanding. Well, there are no other questions currently in the Q&A panel. So I don't know if Howard or Dale, if you have any other takeaways you want to leave anybody with while we give folks one last shot to enter some questions.
So let Dale.
No, I think we're excited to be moving forward with the strategy of our new Affinity Group rollout and our engagement with our members on that, as well as increasing our SMIC capabilities with the next RFP call in order to strengthen our U.S. presence within the institution.
I also want to thank our SMIC partners. What I presented here is not, the capabilities are not just a Howard or headquarters capabilities. Through our partnership, our network of networks, this all happens. I want to thank our SMIC directors, our SMIC leaders, and look forward to having future directors and leaders. I also want to thank our members of Affinity Groups that have helped start that since the beginning of CESMII, and look forward to taking that to the next level. And people have been part of our standing committees. So we look forward to keeping engaged with you. We look forward to you continue to be engaged with us. But more importantly, we want you to continue to stay safe and healthy in these unusual times we're all in, but we're all going to come out of this together, and smart manufacturing will help us guard against the next issue. So thank you for your time. And
Well, Howard, I'm sorry, we were successful in giving time for one more question to pop in. So not sure if you can answer this or not, but the question is, if you had to guess, what month do you think the SMIC RFP might be published? Are you allowed to guess?
Probably too early to pick a particular month. I'll just say it's safe to say within the summertime. So something we're looking to do fairly quickly with the DOE. So I can say summertime for now. And as we learn more, we'll get that communicated to membership.
Excellent. No more questions.
Okay. Well, thanks for everyone's time. Stay safe and look forward to staying engaged.